launched from Iran towards Israel, marking the start of Tehran's response to intensive Israeli strikes. For more on this now, we speak to SABC News International editor Sophie Mokoena, who joins us now on the line. Sophie, so let's start with the scale and impact. What can you tell us about the scale of the missile attack launched by Iran towards Israel? And what more do we know on this? And can you provide an overview on the long-standing hostilities between Iran and Israel, particularly focusing on Iran's nuclear ambitions and Israel's security concerns?
TD will close their fader because I hear a sound and it's very difficult to hear you. But what I can say, the Iranian military has launched attacks on Israel, targeting Tel Aviv. We saw the destruction. We don't know the buildings that were struck, but you also have a situation where the Iron Dome was able to intercept some of these missiles. It will only be clear tomorrow in terms of the impact of the attacks. But when you look at what's happening in your screens, you'll realize that this is a continuous attack, and we expect this to continue because Iran has just announced that it is the start of retaliation, and therefore one expects that it is going to only stop perhaps tomorrow morning, but tonight it is going to be a very, very long night in the Middle East, particularly in Israel. We know that earlier on the people of Israel were warned that they must go to safe places, under the bunkers, because it was anticipated that Iran will retaliate. We don't know later the missiles that might be coming from Iran, the impact thereof, but we saw some burning buildings. And also we are told that the military facilities have been targeted. We don't know whether this will continue. And also we know that the Prime Minister of Israel is now in Greece. He left earlier on knowing that there was going to be this massive retaliation. But I think in the Middle East, the countries are very, very worried in terms of the security in the Middle East. We saw the oil price also being affected. The markets have been affected, particularly in Europe and also in America. So I think it is one of those moments where fears of heavy retaliation from Iran have set in, because we know that the damage that Israel inflicted on Iran early this morning was quite massive, including attacking the nuclear sites, the military installation, almost wiping off the command structure of Iran. And therefore it was expected that Iran this time around will retaliate with full force.
And look, you also speak of the nuclear sites that were also targeted. And speaking of damage at this hour, which other specific sites were targeted and what has been the reported damage so far?
Well, we know that that information will not be made available because it's all about security. And there's no way Iran will release a comprehensive information in terms of the targets. But we know that Israel targeted some nuclear sites. The IDF was also able to kill senior top scientists who are dealing with issues of nuclear programs. But we are told those nuclear programs are meant for good reasons, not for armaments and the nuclear war. And then the second issue is that we know that there were also some military facilities of Iran that were affected earlier this morning when Israel attacked Iran.
And Sophie, earlier you also spoke about the impact as well. You spoke about the impact this also might have on the oil price as well. Just the general and broader ripple impact and effect of this all.
Well, clearly the oil price will go up because it's a risk. You know that this is a Gulf region. And when there's instability in the Gulf region, you have challenges of oil price, and this is what's happening. And therefore, it was no surprise today when we saw those movements in terms of the oil price, but later again the markets in other regions after Iran launched those attacks targeting Tel Aviv, that is the capital city, some targeting Jerusalem. And therefore, I think tomorrow we will have a better sense of the impact in terms of those missiles. Those missiles landed in some important areas and sites in Israel, and we will get the information tomorrow. Earlier on, we saw the Israeli authorities saying that 7 people were injured. We don't know whether there were casualties, and therefore, in a situation like this, both sides will hold information because they don't want to be seen as a weak side.
And just how is Israel likely to respond to this escalation, both military-wise as well as diplomatically?
I can't see Israel responding diplomatically. This is not the first time. Last year, a similar standoff ensued. It wasn't resolved diplomatically. It was retaliation from both sides, and then it was just quiet. I can't see Israel engaging with Iran unless America does convince Iran, because we know that America has been engaging Iran. And therefore, I think it will continue to be military attack targeting military installation, and perhaps those sites that are meant for military purposes, as perhaps outlined by both sides. And I think this is what's going to happen this whole weekend. We had Benjamin Netanyahu earlier on saying that it's going to take days. So you can imagine if the Prime Minister of Israel says it's going to take days, it looks like it's going to be a very long night, of course, a very long, hectic weekend.
Certainly keeping an eye on that. That's SABC News International Editor Sophie Mokoena joining us on that story. Thanks very much indeed.